So today, our focus is on intentionality in the workplace. Can you talk to us a little bit about the first stage? Again, kind of with an eye on, intentionality in the gospel here. Can you talk to us a little bit about that first stage? Like, what do you all do to build that first stage? What parallels do you see with the gospel? Things like that.
Yeah. So for sure, I think you're just trying to create opportunity initially, and so. I mean, that can be a little bit overwhelming, but it can be, reaching out to people with networks, with calling people you already know, referrals. So you're really kind of just trying to get your name out there and get exposure. And there's also that balance of kind of continuing to kind of maintain your current client base.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of parallels with that, with kind of building disciples, and even with evangelism is like you want to kind of have that wide net. I mean, we interact with so many different people on a day-to-day basis, and it's easy to kind of get caught in your own little operation. But then at the same time, there's a challenge of we have limited time, so trying to really prioritize and see where, who are the people that are really interested and really spending time with them. An acronym someone's told me that I thought was really helpful. It's called just so faithful, available, and teachable. And like when you find those people, when you come across those people in your life, really being able to invest in those people.
Which is very cool. To follow that trail just a little bit there, if you are looking for people that are faithful, available, teachable, there is this idea in the gospel, I feel like, where Jesus calls us to be on the lookout for people like that as we're sharing our faith, and being on the lookout for people that are searching, and that that as we're talking to them, we can see this receptivity to the gospel. So I love that. I think that's really cool that there's that parallel there. And also FAT is a very interesting acronym for it.
Yeah.
Definitely interesting. Well, cool. Thanks for sharing that with us, Harrison. We're going to come back to kind of the middle and later stage there, but I wanted to throw it over to Mary Beth here. And
mine is so one-on-one. It's so relational, because you're talking about getting into a person's deepest personal thoughts and how it is affecting their lives. I kind of go back to the scriptures where it says to take every thought captive, to put it under the obedience of Christ. But what we see is so many people don't know what that means. It's like, how do I take this thought captive? What do I do with it? And what is the obedience of Christ to that thought? So what I do is I kind of pull back and come at it maybe in a little more of a secular approach, because people need to see that they're not wrong with their thoughts. Whatever those thoughts are, they might be causing them pain. They might be causing them to be stuck or whatever, but they're not wrong. They're just there. And I think sometimes when people start having bad thoughts, it brings condemnation. And so what I love to see is to be able to show people there's a way to think differently about your life, about your circumstances, about your relationships, so that you can move up into freedom from that pain that it causes you. And when people experience freedom from pain, they're often so much more open to the gospel. I love what a doctor once said: if you listen to people long enough, they'll tell you what's wrong. And so a lot of what I have to do is just listen to where people are and what they're experiencing. So for me, I do, like recently, we've been focusing on goal setting. So I've done a couple of workshops about goal setting, because it helps you to put structure in your day. What are you trying to accomplish and what are the goals? So I focused on goal setting. Next, coming up, I'll be doing a 12-week kind of teachings on empty nesting and what does it look like you're looking to an empty nest, or maybe you've just experienced an empty nest. So the way I approach people is really, some of them are in pain. They're ready for a change in their life. They don't need a therapist or a counselor as much as they need an architect to help them build the life they want to have coming forward.